Hi, and welcome to the Feel Good Always podcast. I'm Becky Bradley, and this is real stories of love, connection, and remembering who we are. Welcome if you're new here, and thank you for those that have been following along. On this Feel Good Always podcast, we're just really talking about moving into higher levels of consciousness, stripping away the things that stop us from really coming into who we are, who we came here to be. This podcast was born out of my daughter Keira, 15 years old, was in a fatal accident, and when that happened, it really opened me up to connect with her and so many things, grief and the pain and the sitting in my feelings. And really that entire experience was a huge experience to open me up to so much more, that I could hear Keira, that I could connect in so many new ways, and that I really could feel good, which is on a human level, or what we've been told, seems like a miracle. This podcast was really shown to me that this is what I needed to do next to help people to move into this energy of feel good always. So we're going to be talking today about feeling it all, really feeling it all, not suppressing anymore. We explore in this podcast how to come into the present moment, how to live fully, to feel everything, to trust the signs, the synchronicities, and the messages that life is always offering us. So, in this episode, I'm going to be talking about what it really means to feel it all, what that looks like, how it helps, that we stop apologizing for our emotions, we stop pushing them down, we allow the waves to move through us without any fear, that we will survive, because feeling is not only safe, it is the path to healing. And so when we move into these higher levels of consciousness through really massive spiritual awakenings, we want to be on the other side of it. We hear things like new earth or higher levels of consciousness, and we think, I need to get there. That's where I need to get. And really, we need to always come back to the present moment. There is not some future place where you're going to feel better. We can't focus on that. We really have to come in now and know that peace is possible here. So, feel good always is a constant message, but we do need that constant reminder that we need to feel, we need to be here in the present moment, and that will help us ascend into higher levels of consciousness. But I just want to remind everyone again that we're here. We're not in some future moment. We are here. All we have is now. The future is actually happening now, and the past is happening now, because it's all happening at once. And on previous episodes, we've talked about this moving into higher levels of consciousness. When my daughter Keira left this earth, that's what I experienced. And it is coming for everyone. I know this. I know this because I am remembering everything and I feel it in the depths of my soul. And so what I am doing here is I am helping people. I'm helping people come to this awareness, come to this knowing, come to this feeling of feel good always. And if you're listening to this, you are attached to this energy. You are part of this really trailblazing, being forerunners into the new earth. We have to come and do this together. This raising of consciousness, there has to have enough people doing it to bring it onto the earth. Okay? There has to be enough of us. Now, another reminder, it is done. You're just listening and you're just part of it. If you're following along, you're part of this initial wave of people that are doing the work through themselves, on themselves, to bring this in. And so we've talked about things like eyes on your own paper, that we have our own experience. We're not pushing this on any other people, that we trust our inner knowing, that we know what to do. I am merely a guide here on this podcast. I want to remind you there is no guru. Everything we need is inside. So your life is an algorithm. It's showing you what you need to hear and what you need to see to move into this feel good always energy. And I am just showing you how I do it and showing you the way that I did it. And whatever resonates with you, you will pick that up. And we also remember that our grief and our pain can be a portal if we are willing to feel it, and that our bodies are processing all this beautiful energy And it can be a lot. So I've talked about that on previous episodes, that we might feel anxiety, we might feel heart palpitations, muscle twitches. All of that is normal. And I am here to just spread that calm energy. And all of these things are just pointing to one core truth, that presence is the portal. And so let's just start going deeper into that. The presence is a portal, and that feeling. This is the Feel Good Always podcast, but there is that emphasis on feel, that we have to have an allowing of those feelings to come through. And so when we are present with our emotions, when we are mindful, we allow life to move through us. We allow the energy of the emotions to come. Emotions are just energy. When my daughter Keira died, I would hear her say, it's just energy and it needs to move, which made no sense, but they are. And they say that emotions really only last 90 seconds, and that our thoughts feed those emotions and can make them bigger. They can make them last longer, which is fine. We need to process it. But when it is an emotion that maybe is causing fear or anxiety, we can pay attention to the thoughts and wonder if we are adding to more fear by having more fearful thoughts. We are powerful with our thoughts. We are powerful with what we are creating. So when we are in fear, we need to know that if we continue down a fear path and we tell ourselves that something is going to be a certain way in the future, we could be creating that for us on our minds. So we are careful. We're careful about what we think in the present moment. We just allow ourselves to feel what's happening now, not in some future moment. So if it is sadness, we feel it. Sadness is merely love. We feel, what does it feel like in the body? Where can I feel it in the body? We start to get curious. We start to wonder what it is trying to tell us, these feelings. We never need to be afraid of our feelings. I think my experience with Keira dying and really being asked to feel in a way that I never thought that I would physically be able to. I mean, there are no words for what I felt. That massive amount of feeling that the human body, that a human is possible. It was just, almost like I couldn't believe that I could have this much emotion, but I did not suppress. And I'm so grateful that I didn't, because it has opened me up to this massive connection that was always coming for me. I do believe this is a blueprint for me, but it did open me up, that willingness to feel. We cannot move into higher levels of consciousness by numbing out, by not feeling what it is to be human. So we can feel the lowest of lows and the highest of highs, and being willing to feel those low points and just knowing that it's just happening in the present moment is what has expanded me to these higher levels of feeling, where I really just can burst into tears with the duality of the joy of, wow, I came here for it all. Like this expansive amount of feeling that is just really, really amazing. But in our culture, we've really been taught to hide our feelings, especially if they're messy ones. Like, keep that in private. Don't talk about it. Don't cry. That's for sure. I can't even begin to tell you how many people apologized to me after my daughter died, saying, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry for crying." Or people will say, to like kind of manage your grief in front of somebody that is grieving. And I don't think that that is the best thing. I think that we need to feel our feelings and not apologize, because when we apologize, or when we are afraid that somebody else is going to have a big feeling because we are feeling, when we stop ourselves from feeling, we are taking away the opportunity for that other person to feel also, or almost not allowing them to feel what they might feel. Actually, I take that back. We're not in charge of what they feel. So that's even a better point. We're not in charge of what they feel, but if let's say I'm on the other side of it and I'm with somebody who's child has died, and I control my grief because I am afraid that it might make them triggered. First of all, that person is going to feel this pain anyways. It's like when people were saying this about Keira, it's like, you're not reminding me that my child died. And if I am triggered, or I do start crying because someone else started crying, okay, we both get to cry together. So it's an opportunity for me to feel. So all I do is in my own feeling, whether it's around my children or other people, I stay in my own body. And I actually have given myself permission to feel anything and everything. And I have had a really great examples around me, women and men that have felt, that have cried in front of me. And I'm so grateful for that, because when we truly feel in front of others, it gives others permission to feel too. So if you're holding in your pain in fear that you might have somebody else experiencing pain, I implore you not to. I'm not saying that you should cry to make someone else feel their feelings, because remember, eyes on our own paper. I'm just saying, don't hold in your pain, because really, when we do that, we're trying to control someone else's feelings, and we can't do that anyway. So just feel it all. Feel it. Don't apologize for crying. Let all of the emotions run through you. We create a space for healing when we allow ourselves to feel. And some of the ways that I have done this is, crying in the car, lying on the earth and feeling it all, journaling, feeling the rage of the feelings in my body, not necessarily directed at somebody else or something or some situation, but allowing myself to scream, to let this emotion out. And for me, sometimes that has been in the car, especially right after Keira. I'd find myself just screaming. And now I do a conscious breathing practice, that in that practice, I've allowed a lot of screaming and crying to move through the body. And it's so amazing, these physical practice, of this movement, breath work, grounding, meditation. All of these things can be beautiful ways to allow ourselves to feel. But really, anywhere, anytime, we could feel. And when this happened for me, it was in 2021. My muscles started twitching. I've talked about this before, but I do believe this beautiful energy that's coming onto the earth was coming in at that time. It was all a part of my plan here, my blueprint in life, because I was being asked to feel. And then I found myself in this really big opening of realizing that I had been suppressing feelings. And that led me to this practice of feeling, this practice of naming my feelings, talking about how it felt in the body, and being really intentional about my feelings. And so once I did that, I started to be aware of when I would stop myself from crying. And so it could be that simple of just watch yourself. Watch yourself. Do you stop yourself from crying? Do you apologize? So maybe next time you start to feel that well up of emotion and you stop yourself, it's okay if you do, but just notice it. And maybe next time you can let yourself cry, or you can let yourself be angry in the moment, or you can let yourself, feel full joy. It's like anytime we're suppressing one emotion, it can suppress everything. And so when the sadness comes up, just allowing yourself to feel it and saying, I'm safe to feel this. It's all moving through me. It's not who I am. I'm not a sad person. I'm not an anxious person. I'm not an angry person. We don't do that. I learned that a long time ago, that I didn't want to say, like, I'm an anxious person. I am someone who has had anxiety. If I ever hear people, I'll usually try to help them use different language. I'm not a sad person. I'm not a depressed person. I am someone who experiences depression in this moment, or I am experiencing anxiety in this moment, because being careful with what we tell ourselves about ourselves. So if you're somebody that thinks I'm an anxious person, try to change your language around it, but allow yourself to feel it. Just watch your thoughts, because with the fear, it's like, what is it trying to tell me, instead of letting all the thoughts tell you you should be afraid, just allowing it to be felt in the body. And so I would feel my feelings in meditation. So this is a practice that you can do, even if it's for 10 minutes. I did do 30 minutes at the time, and I would just get quiet and really allow myself to feel, especially after Keira died, when I had really huge emotion, like literally could feel my heart breaking. I would just sit and feel my body. You can do that if you can get quiet enough to feel when fear is coming in, just sitting quietly in meditation. Inhale, exhale, just watching the breath. When I say watching the breath, I just mean like I would literally like inhale one, exhale two, inhale one, and exhale two, like counting the breath as it would come in and out, and then just feeling my heart. If I have like a pain in the hip, I like let my attention go to my hip, just feeling my body, really coming in tune with the body and allowing ourselves to feel. We can do it through meditation. You can do it through just going for a walk without headphones, with just being out in nature, with each step, feeling your feet on the ground, always coming back into the present moment. Feel the joy, feel the presence, feel how amazing it is to be alive. On the previous podcast with Andrea, she always says, aren't we so lucky to be in a body? And when you're experiencing great grief and great suffering, it really feels like we want to be out of our body. We can be out of our body by disassociating, by distracting ourselves with being on our phones or whatever. But really, when we come into our body and we allow ourselves to feel, and know that we will survive it. I do think I've been given this gift that does keep me from fear, does keep me in a lot of peace, which is knowing that I have allowed myself to feel to the depths of my soul. So there's not really anything that I am afraid of. And I implore you to do that, to allow yourself to feel it all, just to be aware and to notice, because when you allow yourself to feel to the depths of your soul, to the depths of what is possible in this human experience, you really allow yourself to ascend into higher levels of consciousness where you really can feel the connection to everything and everyone. And I cannot use words to explain what that feels like, but I promise you, if you practice these things, you will be ascending into this. And when I say I promise you, you would not be listening to this podcast. It's a frequency. What I have experienced is a high level of connection, nothing that I've ever heard about, where everything is connected. And that is a really beautiful place. It's coming for us all. But we do have to walk it back to how I got there, which is not by suppressing my emotions, not by walking through life asleep. And there is no judgment for people that are still walking through life asleep, not understanding that literally the wind, the rain, the rainbows, every speck of dust, every light reflection that you see, everything is connected, and it's all connecting with us, showing us stuff. And to feel the beauty of that connection, for me, has come through the willingness to feel it all, the willingness to feel it all. And that really started like 4 years ago. And so when Keira died, I really, I did feel it all. I didn't stop myself. And I know that that was very divinely orchestrated. So I could be literally, so you could be listening to this podcast today. And it's a much bigger level than just feeling, but this is how we get here. I know this is what I'm being asked to share with you. Feel good always. That is an energy. That is a higher level of consciousness. It is our divine right. It is our divine right to feel good, to move into these higher levels of consciousness, to transmute fear and pain and all of it. But we have to move through it. We have to move through it. We have to ascend. We don't get to go from here to there without feeling. So please feel it all. Please feel it all. Keep listening to these podcasts. Keep filling yourself up with things that help you move into these higher levels of consciousness. It is an action, it is a practice until your whole entire life is filled with this. So again, next time those emotions rise, instead of pushing them away, welcome them, trust them, let them move through you with compassion, and share that with other people. Share the way that you are feeling with other people. When we talk about this, it spreads. I can't tell you how many times I am places and I just start talking about these things and people say, "Thank you. Thank you for saying that," because it feels like I'm the only one, and you're not the only one. You're not the only one. There are so many of us. We just have to start talking about this. So I really want to say thank you again for listening to this, for feeling it all, for being on this journey with me. We do this together. We move into these higher levels of consciousness. We have this massive spiritual awakening together. We cannot do it alone. We do it together. So please continue to follow along. If you haven't clicked follow, please click follow. And that helps get this podcast out there. There will be so many more real stories of love, connection, and remembering who we are so we can continue to move into this feel good always energy. It is done. Feel it all, really feel it all. And in our next episode, I'm going to be talking about how travel or stepping outside of our routines can help us come back into presence and hear what our lives are trying to show us. And when we're in new environments, something softens and we really can remember what is real and what is happening for us. So remember, feel it all, feel it all, feel it all, so that we can feel good always. Thank you again, you guys. I love you. I appreciate you. We don't do this alone. Until then, trust the guidance and the signs, trust your life, trust you, and feel it all. I love you.